everyone. Welcome to another. Well, I don't know what this is actually. We're sitting here discussing whether this is going to be an expert, because Dorothy certainly is an expert in wellness and the work that she does.
Mhm.
And she has an unstoppable story that kind of leads into her expertise. So this is maybe going to be a combo interview, and that's okay. We don't need to follow any rules. It's all good. And Dorothy, is it Turek?
Yes.
I should have practiced that before we got you online. We're a little loosey goosey here today.
Perfect.
Excuse me. I'm Sherry Danzig, Choosing Vibrancy, and I love bringing experts in that can, add to new tools and new ideas, new inspirations about how we can live a vibrant life. That's the bottom line. We all want to live really great lives, feel alive, feel good, and so that's really my jam and my reason for inviting people and doing these recordings. So Dorothy Turek is gonna. We've been talking about how darn cold it is where she is. So she's from Canada, not from the South, like me. Anyhow, Dorothy, take it away and tell us a story, and then we'll just roll with it and see what questions I might have to enhance more. And if you have some tips at the end, we love hearing tips that can, be good practical ways that people can apply some of
Okay.
your wisdom.
Okay. Well, so I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And for the first 33 years of my working life, I worked in higher education at a university. And I was kind of tied by those golden handcuffs of waiting it out so I could retire. But so many of us go through that midlife crisis, and we really do wonder what we're here for. If this is really all there is, what's my life purpose?
Yep.
And I don't know if it's my unstoppable story, but it's a unique one. One day, my teenage daughter was going through some bullying, actually, in her own school sports team, in her
Mm.
volleyball team. But she was really good at hiding it. I didn't really realize for quite a while. And the one thing that really made her powerful, that she really loved and wasn't bullied at, was when she would go for her weekly riding lesson. Now, I had grown up with horses. I'd had horses for 20 years previous, and it was like no longer my time, it's her time. Let her enjoy, horses and all that. And the one day we went for our lesson, and her regular horse was lame, and the coach said, go take that horse, Shatir, go take him out of the field and use him. Now, he was my friend's horse. He was a bit of a crazy horse, I'd have to tell you. All honestly, my first reaction is, how is a highly sensitive, neurotic horse going to deal with kind of an angry, depressed teenage girl? Like, how's that going to work?
Mm-hmm.
Well, interestingly enough, it worked out amazingly. She got on him in the arena, and he took her to the far end of the arena. And this normally very excitable horse, he just like stood there with his head down, quietly, very quietly and gently. And we're all watching, going, what's going on here? He seemed to be moving her sadness from her, taking it down to the ground and grounding it, this energy,
Mm-hmm.
and accepting her for who she was, but really being sensitive to her state at that moment. I was shocked, as was the coach, because we're like, what is he doing? Like, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
So, as a horse person, I didn't know actually horses were that sensitive to our emotions and our like our states of being,
Mm-hmm.
and also actually wanting to help us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the darkest time for my child, I actually found my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, I got it. I got to figure it out. I can combine my love of horses and helping people. And it didn't take me long to go and become certified as an equine assisted learning facilitator. And more importantly, because at the time I was working in human resources in the institution I was working at, and there were so many people there. They were just putting in time so they could retire, and I was able to show them that age is like age doesn't matter. You can find your purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do something new that is totally out of your comfort zone. but can give you true joy and happiness.
Mm.
And, I was encouraging them, don't waste this next 5 years. You don't know how much time you have on this earth. Find that which really, gives you joy, no matter what it is, and go for it because it'll be okay.
I love it. I love that
That's
story. I love that you shining this light, and I know that this was the first of many experiences you've had of
yeah.
horses being intuitive, of seeing literally them being intuitive,
Hmm.
of them reading what is needed of them and
Yeah.
responding out of their normal, like you said, kind of crazy behavior way. So that's,
Hmm.
yeah, I've seen that with dogs. I've
Yeah.
had dogs, and I've had dogs that are, usually can be very high energy, that just get very quiet and very cozy up to you when they pick up on something that's going on with you emotionally.
Exactly. And the difference with working with horses than with dogs is that horses are prey animals and
Mhm,
dogs are predators like humans. So dogs and cats react to us similarly. They recognize us as fellow kind of predators.
mhm,
Horses, most people, they're afraid of horses. And what they don't realize is actually the horse is afraid of humans
mhm,
because we are their natural enemy.
mhm,
So when horses enter into relationships with people willingly, like they're going beyond their natural instinct.
mhm, mhm,
But on the other part, which also is why they're so effective at helping people, is that they also live in herds, just
mhm,
like people live in groups,
mhm.
societies, whatever, families.
Sure.
Horses live in groups. They need it to be safe. And so that's what they bring to the table to help humans.
They understand that, the
They're
that,
driven. They're
yeah.
driven to make every creature around them their herd mates, to drive them to be very stable and grounded.
Mm.
Yes, they're highly energetic animals.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the work that you do. How did you turn this? I mean, I think that's an unstoppable story, in that because you made the decision to jump into another career in midlife,
Yeah.
and that takes courage. I mean, it's much easier to just go sit on the couch and watch,
Yeah.
Netflix.
It is, but as with in all of our lives, there's always something. When we make great changes, something has precipitated it. Some usually, if it's not that we're taking care of somebody else, like in the case of my daughter, but I also was feeling a lot of pain. Like we experience pain when we're not doing what we're meant to do. I
Hmm.
believe that it's a mental pain, it's an emotional pain, and it just became so great that it overcame my fear of, oh, what now? Like now I got to learn how to be an entrepreneur
Hmm. Yeah.
instead of an employee, right?
Yeah.
But I don't regret it. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
So what an equine assisted learning facilitator is not somebody who does therapy. So we have to always be very clear. People think, oh, it's equine horse therapy. No, that only involves someone who's actually like a therapist, a social worker, a psychologist, that kind of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
What we do, we can work with professionals if necessary, but our programs that we do um, just help people develop their life skills, some things that they're maybe not so good at. So
Hmm.
communication. Um, what's really good for women is setting boundaries. Sometimes
Hmm.
we're not so good at setting boundaries. So they come out and they work at least with one other human because it's not horsemanship. They're not there to learn how to lead a horse around or whatever, do obstacles with a horse.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're there to learn skills with how to be a better human and how to do better in society. So, like I said, we have programs. They're 2 hours max. Get a group of people out. Could be families. Could be clients from organizations that work with people at risk. Let's say they've come out of the prison system, things like that. People that
Hmm.
really could use some life skill building so that they
Hmm.
can go out
Hmm.
and be productive members of society.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I hear
yeah,
that. Like, learn
yeah,
how to assimilate, to be cooperative. I mean, I think that's true if you're working with a horse, especially if you have fear. I mean, they're such big animals, and you think I mean, there's a real reason to be fearful. Like, you don't want to fall off the
Sure.
horse. You don't want to be kicked by the horse. I mean, they're strong. They're a lot bigger than us.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but there's
Uh,
also trust. You have to trust yourself. You have to learn to trust.
your teammate,
Hmm.
one of them, which is a horse, and
Which
one
is
of
a
them is like
horse.
another human, and your non-human teammate, the horse, is not logical, is not rational, and will only react like a horse. So now you're learning things like nonverbal communication, body
Mhm.
language. All those things are super important that we keep forgetting as humans,
Yeah.
which is actually vital for our communication. Leadership. So if a horse's number one priority in life is to feel safe. Again, most people don't realize that, including a lot of horse people. They think
Mhm.
it's food and shelter. It's being safe.
Mm.
So how do we as the humans make them feel safe? Well, we got to be a leader. We got to be a leader to them and actually to ourselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's surprising how many people aren't really good leaders to themselves. And the horses, with their intuitive ability, totally tap in. Totally. You can pretend to be a leader, but if you're not energetically a leader, they don't kick. They're not doing. They just don't move. They just wait. They wait for you to develop that inner ability, and then they'll follow. And nobody rides. Like that's the point, is
Mhm.
you're working with them like on the ground, 'cause they
Mhm.
have to be free to react.
Wow. It's,
Yeah.
it's it's there's a realness to it. There's a truth to it, of the
Yes.
kind of feedback you get. There's nothing, nobody, horses are not going to cover, uh, placate you or whatever.
Nope. Yeah, they don't judge you. They actually don't care whatever, all those social things that we have going on, our worries, they do not care about that. They don't judge. They instantly respond.
Mhm.
So, coming from my former background, it's really the ultimate in personal development, personal growth, because
Mhm.
uh, when you when you change, you have some sort of a change in your state or your actions, the
Mhm.
horse reflects it immediately, which means you yourself can take that back. You know what you had to do to change, right? We don't need a filter of a human coming in, a
Right.
coach coming in,
Right. Right.
telling you what you did. You just know the horse told you.
Confirmation.
Confirmation, instant.
Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating. Fascinating.
Yeah,
Well, Dorothy, it's been a pleasure.
thank
And
you.
I will have your contact information for anybody that wants to be in touch to
Thank you.
learn more about what you're doing. It's fascinating. I wish we lived closer to each other. One of these days, I'm going to take a big trip to Canada and do like a lot of stops in Canada. So I'll definitely have to
Mhm.
come and see you. Thanks so
Absolutely,
much
that'd
for
be
sharing.
wonderful. Thank you.